Yes, sir. I'm not sure if this is for your region, but I'm in Menifee, California, and I believe I had just seen a UFO sighting. It was about 9:30 at night when this happened, about 20 minutes ago. It looked like it was a comet or meteor falling out of the sky. Bright ball with a tail of light, and then it stopped, broke into three lights. They stood in the air for several minutes, and then they started flying off, and then the lights just disappeared all at the same time. I don't know if it's UFO, but I've never seen anything like that. Me being in the military, I know that we don't have anything like that. But
I was driving northbound on I-95 between Hillsborough and Palmetto Park. This was last night, January 12th, about 7:45. I noticed a bluish-white light coming in from the ocean, heading due west about a mile ahead of me. And as it got to the highway, it was moving at a pretty good clip, and as it got to the highway, it immediately froze, paused for a moment, and then changed direction and started going due east. And as it was going due east, it split into two different orbs, and the one leading it out eastward was changing colors. So there were two orbs. One was real bright white bluish light, and it was trailing the one that was changing colors, blue, red, green, white, whatever, just a bunch of different colors. It almost looked like Cop Lights cherries, changing colors so fast. And they both headed out due east. As I became parallel with it, as I was heading north, I could see it was two separate objects at this point. Now, I couldn't stop because I was in traffic, and I know other people had to have seen it. So I'm wondering if anybody else has reported it.
Yes, sir. I was going to report a UFO sighting. This one happened Saturday, January the 8th, just last weekend, last Saturday. I kind of looked to see if anything would be on the news because I would have suspected that a lot of people would have seen these two UFOs in the sky. It was right before sunset. I was driving west on Highway 64 from Indiana into Illinois. The sighting occurred between Evansville, Indiana, and the border of Illinois. It was right before sunset. You could tell the sun was getting ready to go down. The UFOs was directly in front of me, approximately about 40,000 feet, I would imagine, and it was in the jet stream. I'm sure if anybody was on the highway and just looked up, they would have seen these two UFOs up there. They were up there for a very long time, pretty much stationary. It seemed like it was in the jet stream of the sky. And this, like I said, it was on January the 8th. I did snap a couple pictures. One, I didn't get anything. The other one, I did get one of the UFOs, but it just looks like a light in the sky, and I just missed the other one. The other one was just right above it in the picture, and but I did snap a picture while I was driving.
Live in Fort Lauderdale on the 26th floor. Point of America's right on the beach. Saw an absolute armada of UFOs last night, January the 21st, between 10 and 11 p.m. My son was sitting there with me on our balcony. It was extraordinary to the point of being frightening. probably saw 30 different formations. We did not video it. I didn't have a video camera handy, and quite frankly was frightened, to be doing anything. One was over the city of Fort Lauderdale. I know that there had to have been other people saw it. There were flights coming in, going in. That the pilots had to have seen this. Went on. It was absolutely extraordinary. If you'd like to call me and get more information, I would certainly be interested in knowing who else has seen it here. I saw cameras going off. I heard people. I haven't met anybody this morning in my comings and goings that saw them, but this was absolutely unbelievable. Give me a call if you get a chance. Thank you.
And I was reporting a unidentified flying object that we all seen probably at about 3:45 p.m. on February 1st in Chatsworth, California. The nearest major cross street would be Topanga Boulevard, or Topinion Canyon Road, and Plummer Avenue. We live just a few blocks from that major intersection. But my children, I had 4 children outside playing in the backyard, and one of them ran in and called us out there. And when we went out there, they pointed off into the distance of a thing that just flown over our house. And my wife and I saw it. It was a black, disc-like object. It was just kind of flying real smooth in the distance, and it seemed like it was going west towards Simi Valley. What the kids described was looked a pretty basic description. When it comes to kids, they're pretty honest. It says it looked like just a big, giant garbage can lid that was spinning and changing colors almost, like from black to white. And I asked them if it had any sound, and they said no, there's no sound at all. Or typically with a plane or a helicopter, you can hear something or anything in the air. You can hear off in the distance. But they said no sound. It just went real quietly over the house, and they all stopped playing. They all looked up and saw it and watched it go off into the distance when we came out there. I really couldn't explain it to them to even give them a possible solution of what it might have been. But if you'd like, you can give myself a call or my wife a call. We can give you a little bit more information about it. Once again, it was 3:45 p.m. on February 1st in Chatsworth, California. I think that's about all the information we have that our children gave us on it. All righty, thank you. Bye-bye.
Care if I take this call?
Yeah.
Okay. You don't care?
No, I don't care. I mean,
okay. When was your sighting?
It was 12:34 Monday morning, which would be 2/1/2011.
Okay.
I'm in Santa Barbara, California, somewhat near Vandenberg Air Force Base, because I wasn't sure whether it was from a missile launch. You know how they leave those lights that they say?
There was a missile launch this week. I don't remember what day. I'll have to check.
Yeah, but the thing was, I don't know, because they normally don't launch missiles around midnight. They usually do it before.
Right.
Yeah, because, I mean, my roommate, this is what happened. My roommate was standing outside my porch. Back in 2010, we had a big fire, and in front of my house, there's a giant hill. And behind the hill, there's mountains. And back in those mountains, there's nothing back there at all but a reservoir.
Okay.
And city workers, I have a cousin that works there, and they only work from 9 a.m. to 9 at night, so they're gone at that time, and that's way on the left side of the mountain. But my roommate was smoking a cigarette. It's around 12:30, and he calls me freaking out, panicking. I'm like, what? I come running outside to my front porch, and I see these bright neon to dark green, purple, crimson lights come flashing out of the sky. I mean, they literally lit up the whole skylight. Keep in mind, on my street, there's no lights at all. No, I have no street lights on my street at all whatsoever. But these lights literally filled the whole entire sky, and they filled that whole entire mountainside to where you could see the whole side of the mountain as if it were day.
Was it just a flash, or was it persistent?
Oh, they were pretty persistent. Some of the lights were persistent for about 3-5 seconds at a time. But the strangest thing was I saw a bright white light. Now, this light was zigzagged. And I could not explain that at all. I mean, it shot in the sky, and it was zigzagging like all over the place. And it kept a persistent zigzag formation that you could see all throughout the sky.
Okay.
Same with the other lights. You can see every single formation up until it hit the stars. And I keep in mind, these lights were really, really powerful. Like the most powerful lights I've nearly almost ever seen in my life. And they were really, really fluorescent as to where you could almost feel the color.
Really? And the skies were clear, you say?
Oh, yeah, the skies were bright clear. I mean, we've had good weather here for the past week, so...
Mm-hmm. Did you hear anything?
No, that's the thing. We couldn't hear anything. We couldn't hear a thing. But right after the phenomenon happened, I sort of looked in the sky, and I saw 2 stars in the distance. And they kept on dimming, and then they got really, really, really bright. They dimmed, and then they went away. And I have not seen those 2 stars there since.
That's interesting. Now, how long did you witness this? How long did it last?
He witnessed it for about 3 to 4 minutes longer than I did, because he thought he was seeing things at first. He didn't know what it was, so he was kind of looking at it. Then all of a sudden, he called me to see if I could see what he saw, and I definitely did.
How long did you see it?
I saw it for about 3 to 5 minutes.
So the whole thing lasted
about 10 minutes.
Yeah, about 10 minutes, and it just went out. Is that it?
Yeah, it just went out, and then me and him tried to stand here to see if we can see it again, but we didn't.
And what direction were the lights? Well, I guess you said they lit the whole sky, but you said they were over the mountains.
Basically, yeah, the white one was the one that was all over the place. That one was shooting from left to right. The other ones were kind of like going in a motion from up to left to right. I mean, they were kind of almost all over the place, but they seemed like they had a pattern that they would follow.
What direction of the sky was that?
Let me see.
West, east, northeast, southeast?
It's kind of difficult because our beach is to the west.
Okay.
Let me see here. I say see, our mountain range is kind of different because most beaches are located on the south, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, so if anything, it looked like it's going towards the east coast, because when I'm standing in the middle, the ocean's to my left, so that's the west coast. So if anything, it's coming from the east.
Okay. Yeah, that don't sound like no rocket launch to me if it lasted 10 minutes. If it was rocket launch, you would see it for a few minutes, but
yeah, because that's the thing. I mean, you can see when they do launches, you can see them visibly in the sky. And I tried to look online, and I didn't see any type of rocket launch.
Yeah, there was a launch this week, but I don't remember what day. I'll have to look.
Okay, yeah, because I was just trying to figure out what it was, because that was possibly the strangest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, well, I had a similar report in Seattle here, which is where I live, the Seattle area, last weekend, but that was kind of a flash, just for a few seconds when the whole sky lit up. But
yeah, I mean, I don't really know how to explain these lights. I mean, they seem like they were spotlights, but why would somebody? I mean, it makes no sense. I mean, I can almost see it being a missile launch, but I would have seen something in the sky. You know, we probably would have seen it.
Yeah, right. You'd see a fireball all the time.
Yeah, I didn't see or hear anything. I mean, we were pretty much out here the whole night, and we weren't drinking or anything.
Yeah, that's interesting. What's your name?
Calling about, I went on your site to see if there was any sightings of the January 20th, 2011 over Tempe, Arizona. I also saw that UFO, and it had the 3 lights, and the lights actually jumped. They were going upwards, and then the one behind it
disappeared, and then there were 2, then there were 3 again, and they went a little bit higher, and then they kept on. When you looked at them, it looked like that they jumped, and then after about 10 minutes, they just totally disappeared. I didn't get a picture of them because I work for the Department of Corrections, and at this time, I was taking 2 inmates out to Florence. So I had just passed Tempe Town Lake and was on the freeway on my way towards Florence. And myself and the 2 inmates that we had in the back also saw this UFO. So, and it was pretty. It looked like nothing that I've seen. And these lights were there for maybe a period of 10 minutes at the most, and then they completely disappeared out of the sky.
Smith.
Okay. And what was the time of your sighting?
Time of my sighting. About 7. Around 7 o'clock.
Okay, Vancouver, Washington. What'd you see?
I seen there was one object, and it wasn't a plane or helicopter because it was too low to be a helicopter or a plane. When I seen the object, I noticed it didn't make any noise, and if it was a helicopter, it would have made noise, and it wasn't a plane because it's just it had the unusual flashing lights, and they would become dim, and then they would brighten. And it was going it was going west. It was coming west, and then it turned like it was going straight, and then it turns a different direction almost instantly. Like I seen it come one way, and then it turned like left from there, and it went straight. So it turned like you would at like an intersection. It turned instantly, and as it turned, it just went straight from there. And then I was kind of looking at it, and it paused, like it came to a complete stop. And when it came to a stop, I noticed that if it was a plane, if a plane stopped like that in the air, it would crash. And if it was a helicopter, it would be making noise.
Mm-hmm.
So when I seen it go, straight and then stop, is when it was really, interesting, and I started, examining it more, and it's completely still, and while it's still, I see another object like another object was descended from that, and from that first object. So as it's sitting still, another object comes out of, the other object, and now there's 2 of them. And I mean, like, they're flying right by each other, and then from there they turn, take another left, so they're going in like a square, movement. And as they turned again, they were both flying like right by each other. And the object the main object that was there when it descended the other object, they were probably 10 feet apart. And they were right by each other, and I noticed that the other object wasn't a part of the original object because it came like it was right behind the main object. So altogether, another object was descended from the main UFO, and they start going a different direction, the same direction they came. And I noticed that they started flying higher too, like instantly they were flying in, like a stair pattern, like they were flying up, and there was 2 objects now. The one that got descended from the original object was flying slightly behind it, but it was still right next to each other. Like, that's when I knew that, this can't be anything else, because we don't have any type of aircraft or, transportation that releases the object, into the sky. And they were flying right by each other. It looks like the one that was descended from the main one
was following it in a, in the same pattern, but I could see them both move, in their own, in their own way. So it's,
Bend, Oregon, on the northeast side of Bend towards the countryside. Last night, Saturday, February 12th, approximately 10 p.m., I went outside, was admiring there was a beautiful night last night, and saw what we believe to be UFOs. There was 5 up to more that were going across the sky at a moderate speed, up high. They weren't a low altitude. At first you think, oh, you see a satellite. That's what caught my eye first. But it was much lower than that. I would say it's the level of where commercial jets fly, maybe just slightly lower. But they were bright blue, bluish white, going in a line and converging together. They were slowly coming together. My stepson seen it. My wife saw it. I called them out because I thought, wow, what am I looking at here? And it was, I don't know. I'm just wondering if somebody else seen anything. It was February 12th, approximately 10 p.m. Please feel free to call me. I'd like to talk to somebody about this. This is very strange. It wasn't an optical illusion. It wasn't I know what I saw. I'm a veteran. I've seen things. I'm 46 years old. It's I don't know what to say, but it was very strange, very, very strange.
Yes, I'm from California.
We had a UFO sighting just recently, February 15, 2011, at 10 p.m. at night. It was a bright star, and it slowly grew in size and started glowing like a fire, and it raised in the air and started blinking lights. It came towards us, we never got over top of our house. It was big and round. It was black with lights around it.
Yes, I'm from California, San Bernardino, California. I was out having my coffee on the porch, and my house is towards the San Bernardino Mountains. And I look up and I see neon blue lights with like a bright neon orangish red, hovering, and then over the mountains, and then it descended into the mountains
hovered back up, and then the lights came off, and they were just white lights, and then they stayed in the clouds, and then it was gone. Now, I really don't believe in UFOs or anything like that, but you know what I seen this morning.
Okay, tell me what you saw and the time and date and location.
It was really early this morning at 1:13 a.m.
1:13 a.m., okay.
And it was like, let's see, I was like laying in bed, but I was looking out my window, and so that faces east, so it was an East Seattle sky. I live right by Lake Washington, like right. North Seattle.
North Seattle, Bothell? Or?
No, just North Seattle.
North Seattle, okay.
Mm-hmm. And I was looking at, and I was just like staring at one spot, and then I saw like it was like 5 or 6 lights, like kind of evenly spaced, and then one that was evenly spaced were like above the other ones, and then another one in front, and they were all the same size, but the last one in front was the same like height as the previous ones. There's just one that was higher than the other ones, and the other one seemed to be like following the front one, like or like attached, either like attached, like it was pulling them, or like it was like I don't know, like attracted somehow. It was kind of strange. And then at first I thought like I was like, you know when you blink and you look at the sky and you think you see like streaks, but it's just kind of eye tricks. But then I like opened my eyes again and like focused on it and had time to like count the dots, like or like at least begin to count them, and it like went across my sky, and it like or like what I was looking at, the portion of sky I could see, at kind of like a really strange like pace, and then it like got faster, and then it like darted behind a tree, and then it didn't come out the other side of the tree. It looks like really far away though, and then I didn't see it anymore. But it lasted like 4 or 5 seconds.
4 or 5 seconds, okay. Were skies clear at the time?
Yeah, completely clear.
Yeah, I live in the Seattle area too, and I thought they probably were. I live on the east side. And you were looking east?
Yeah, I was looking east.
And what direction were the lights going, right or left?
They were going south.
South, okay.
So right, yeah.
Okay. And what formation shape were they in? Were they kind of...
It was like a little bit of an arced line, and then I guess the second one, if they're going right, so the second one was higher up about a centimeter in the sky from like where I was than the rest of them. Okay,
so you were just laying in bed and looking outside and...
Yeah, I just stare out the window a lot. I've seen a lot of really weird stuff, but this is like the first one that I reported.
Well, that's interesting. I don't know. Lights in the sky at night are a frequent report that I get. If there were that many of them, what color were they?
They were just white, like really, really white. Like they looked like stars, but they were brighter than most stars. And,
okay.
But like they were the same size, like the same size. They're like about the same size as Sirius. So kind of like big stars, like.
Okay. You must have some astronomy background if you know about Sirius.
Just like minimal. I mean, I know like astronomy and like astrology, and I don't know. I've seen some really weird stuff, so I've been paying attention a lot more recently.
I'm in Fort Bragg, California. I'm just writing up a report for the UFO Center up in Washington.
Yeah, could you send one to me?
I can. Do you want me to read it to you? I just sort of finished it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Second.
Do you care if I tape this call, sir?
No, I don't mind at all.
Okay, go ahead and read me the report. That's fine.
Okay. I live just south of the town of Fort Bragg, California, off of Highway 1, and I am a cum laude graduate of the United States Merchant Marine Academy at Kings Point, New York. I am a retired sea captain who spent 27 years at sea traversing the whole world. On the night of March 3rd, 2011, I was standing in my open doorway having a cigarette when I noticed a bright red flashing light through the trees approach from the southeast and tracking towards the northwest. Fort Bragg
JAG is a jump-off point for air traffic beginning or ending their great circle routes to and from the Far East, and we occasionally have some military flights off the coast, so I'm used to seeing air traffic, but this light was unusually large and bright to be a navigational light, so it grabbed my attention. It was a beautiful, clear night with no clouds or haze. As it approached, white lights became visible, and I saw that there were 6 white lights, much dimmer than the pulsing red light, in the shape of a triangle. The red light was located between the second and third white lights on the starboard right side of the craft, which is the wrong side for a red navigational light. I estimate the altitude to be between 5,000 and 10,000 feet, and it moved rather slowly, more like a propeller-driven plane than a jet. I observed it for what would I estimate to be 4 or 5 minutes. When its course took it offshore, it seemed to eject a smaller craft out of its starboard bow. This craft had a smaller pulsing orange light and 2 small white lights. The smaller craft continued on a northern course, while the larger craft continued northwest until it disappeared from view behind some trees. That's it.
Well, and it was going offshore, you say?
Yeah, it was heading offshore. I called the air traffic controllers down in the Bay Area to see if they had anything. You know, the fellow I talked to wasn't on duty Thursday night, so he said he didn't. You know, he wasn't there to see anything. But he said it wouldn't have been a military aircraft coming from the land side. You know, the military flights up here are pretty much just offshore. And it didn't sound like anything that they would be monitoring. You know, it wasn't like a normal aircraft to them.
Right. I do a lot of work with radar for UFO reports, and for the most part, there's very few UFOs that show up on radar, but I have had some interesting reports. It's just, it takes so long to analyze the data, and then trying to separate everything out is kind of a difficult thing to do. But I might request some data. I don't know. I'll have to see what my time frame is. But what was, in Fort Bragg, about where did you see it from? What was your cross street or address or anything where you were when you saw it?
The address is 17900
17900, okay.
North Highway 1.
North Highway 1, and that's in Fort Bragg, California?
Right.
What's the zip code?
95437.
95437. Okay, that's a good report. You know, I don't know, these triangles are probably a good percentage of the reports I get are triangles, and I don't know what they are. Some of them could be military, but, you know, it didn't sound like the one you saw was. You know, I'm investigating one up here in Washington State where it flew right over the highway real slow, and they're strange. I don't know what they are. You know, it's still a mystery, and they've been seeing these things since the mid-'80s in the Hudson's Bay area in New York, where the triangles first started showing up, and then that Belgium wave of sightings occurred in the late 80s, and they've been around ever since, and they're still a mystery. So the rumor military circles is they could be the TR-3B flying triangle, but no one's ever really written anything about it. You know, there's just been all rumored. But well, anyhow, you know, I'm speculating, but I'll put your report up there, and maybe some other people come forward. I won't use any personal information. So.
Okay. All right. Where do you want me to send it to you?
Oh, sure. You can just email it to me, your text report, at my email address is wpuckett, that's WPUCKETT, at UFOSNW.com.
Okay.
That's abbreviation for UFOs Northwest. So, yeah, go ahead and send that up to me, and I'll get your report up there. Yeah.
All right. The other fellow asked me to do a diagram for him, so I'm going to do I'm going to make up a JPEG to sort of,
Yeah, go ahead and do a diagram, and it's possible if you could put it in the email message, if you can scan it or put it on your computer or something. So.
Yeah, it'll be a JPEG or something like that.
Okay, fantastic. I look forward to it. Well, thanks a lot for your report.
What's your name?
Oh, I'm William Puckett, UFOs Northwest.
hook it.
Yep. And my website is same as kind of the email, www.ufosnw.com. So.
Okay. All righty.
All right. Well, thanks.
All right, William.
Have a good one.
All right. You're more than welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye.